Find yourself saying, "Oh, I find yourself saying, "Oh, I find yourself saying, "Oh, I find yourself saying, "Oh, I
Yeah. This gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a good one. We're gonna look and see what they got going on in their homeland because they over here with us, so they get to see the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? So what they purposely do is they ignore the good, right, and the normalcy, and then they'll like to hyper examine, the ratchetness, which they help contribute to. So, okay, so now we're gonna look in their backyard. What they got going on in Nigeria and Jamaica, and the findings are interesting. Let's take a look at it.
Right now, let's take a good look at Nigeria and Jamaica and try to uncover why there's so much vitriol for foundational Black Americans, or also known as FBA, coming from the continent and the diaspora. Please show support 3 different ways, starting with subscribing to Unbiased Sports Podcast and his other channel, FBA Defensive Unit. Like the video. If it's in your means, then reach out with a donation that shows appreciation for all of the long hours of thorough research in an effort to educate you and entertain you. Look up. The Cash App is $Unbiased Sports. It's time to get started, you dig? Nigeria gained a degree of self-rule in 1954 and full independence from the United Kingdom on October 1st, 1960. The disequilibrium and perceived corruption of the electoral and political process led to 2 military coups in 1966. The first coup was in January 1966 and was led mostly by soldiers. Nigeria enjoyed an oil boom in the 1970s, during which the country joined OPEC and received huge oil revenues. Despite these revenues, the military government did little to improve the standard of living, help small and medium businesses, or invest in infrastructure. As oil revenues fueled the rise of federal subsidies to states, the federal government became the center of political struggle and the threshold of power in the country. As oil production and revenue rose, the Nigerian government became increasingly dependent on oil revenues and international commodity markets for budgetary and economic concerns. Boko Haram and the bandit conflict have been responsible for numerous serious attacks with thousands of casualties since mid-2010. Since then, according to the Council on Foreign Relations Nigeria Security Tracker, over 41,600 lives have been lost to this conflict as of October 2022. The United Nations Refugee Agency UNHCR counts about 1.8 million internally displaced persons and about 200,000 Nigerian refugees in neighboring countries. Nigeria's economy is the fourth largest in Africa, the 31st largest in the world by nominal GDP, and 30th largest by PPP. GDP, PPP, per capita is US $9,148. The security situation in Nigeria is considered inadequate despite political stability. 68% of Nigerians feel not safe in their country. 77% do not know of an alarm number helpline for emergencies. Nigerians, according to the above survey, fear being robbed 24% or kidnapped, also 24%, being victims of armed bandits or of petty theft, both 8%, or being harmed in the herdsman-farmers conflict, also 8%. Internationally, Nigeria is infamous for a type of advance fee scam along with a form of confidence trick. The victim is talked into sending money or bank account information to the scammer on the premise that a larger amount of money will be transferred to them. In reality, the scammer collects money from the victim with no payout occurring. In 2003, the Nigerian Economic and Financial Crimes Commission was created to combat this and other forms of organized financial crime. The FCC is quite active. According to the International Monetary Fund, 32% of Nigeria's population lives in extreme poverty as of 2017, living on less than $2.15 a day. The World Bank stated in March 2022 that the number of poor Nigerians had increased by 5 million to 95.1 million during the COVID period. Accordingly, 40% of Nigerians live below the poverty line of $1.90 as handled by the World Bank. Despite the undoubted existence of slums in Nigeria, for example, the fact that 92% of men and 88% of women in Nigeria own a mobile phone is difficult to reconcile with the poverty percentages published by the IMF and the World Bank. Nigeria's human rights record remains poor. According to the U.S. Department of State, the most significant human rights problems are the use of excessive force by security forces, impunity for abuses by security forces, arbitrary arrests, prolonged pretrial detention, judicial corruption and executive influence on the judiciary, rape, torture, and other cruel, inhuman, or degrading treatment of prisoners, detainees, and suspects, harsh and life-threatening prison and detention center conditions, exploitation, domestic violence, discrimination based on ethnicity, region, and religion. Discrimination based on sex is a significant human rights issue. Forced marriages are common. Child marriage remains common in northern Nigeria. 39% of girls are married before age 15, although the Marriage Rights Act banning marriage of girls under 18 was introduced on a federal level in 2008. 293. There is rampant polygamy in northern Nigeria. 294. Domestic violence is common. Women have fewer land rights. Maternal mortality was at 814 per 100,000 live births in 2015. Female genital mutilation is common, although a ban was implemented in 2015. At least 500,000 suffer from vaginal fistula, largely as a result of lack of medical care. Most Nigerian literature is written in English, partly because this language is understood by most Nigerians. Now it's time to take a deep look into Jamaica and what they got going on. Jamaicans achieved independence from the United Kingdom on August 6, 1962. Jamaica's economy is heavily dependent on tourism. It has an average of 4.3 million tourists a year. By the beginning of the 19th century, Jamaica's dependence on slave labor and a plantation economy had resulted in black people outnumbering white people by a ratio of almost 20 to 1. Although the British had outlawed the importation of slaves, some were still smuggled in from Spanish colonies and directly from Africa. The population in 1834 was 371,070, of whom 15,000 were white, 5,000 free black, 40,000 colored or free people of color, mixed race, and 311,070 were slaves. The resulting labor shortage prompted the British to begin to import indentured servants to supplement the labor pool, as many freedmen resisted working on the plantations. Workers recruited from India began arriving in 1845, Chinese workers in 1854. Many Jamaicans are descendants of South Asian and Chinese people. In 1871, the census recorded a population of 506,154 people, 246,573 of whom were males, and 259,581 females. Their races were recorded as 13,101 white, 100,346 colored, known as the Browning class, and 392,707 black. Independence, however, widely celebrated in Jamaica, has been questioned in the early 21st century. In 2011, a survey showed that approximately 60% of Jamaicans believe that the country would have been better off had it remained a British colony, with only 17% believing it would have been worse off, citing as problems years of social and fiscal mismanagement in the country. When Jamaica gained independence in 1962, the murder rate was 3.9 per 100,000 inhabitants, one of the lowest in the world. By 2009, the rate was 62 per 100,000 inhabitants, one of the highest in the world. Gang violence became a serious problem, with organized crime being centered around Jamaican posses or yardies. Jamaica has had one of the highest murder rates in the world for many years, according to UN estimates. Some areas of Jamaica, particularly poor areas in Kingston, Montego Bay, and elsewhere experience high levels of crime and violence. In 2017, murders rose by 22% over the previous year. It is most prevalent in small island developing states. A recent study by the World Bank found evidence to suggest that roughly 85% of Jamaica's tertiary-level graduates migrate. Jamaica has the second highest incident of brain drain in the world. Guyana is first. The research indicated that roughly 89% of their tertiary-level graduates leave to find jobs elsewhere. More than 80% of tertiary-level graduates migrate from Haiti and Suriname as well. There is also another aspect of brain drain called brain waste, where migrants from one area to the next end up working in an environment where they never get the opportunity to apply their education, qualifications, or skill set. Brain drain involves the loss of valuable human capital that is necessary to help a country grow and develop. It is important for countries to have knowledgeable experts, technocrats, undertaking particular tasks, people who are competent at their jobs, who are capable of completing these tasks more efficiently. If not, the country will remain underdeveloped. A more knowledgeable and skilled economy is capable of making more informed decisions, which reduces wastage and maximizes efficiency and output. In Jamaica, corruption within the government is pervasive and entrenched in Jamaican society. Jamaican politics is overrun with corruption, and this is common knowledge among Jamaican voters. This corruption has led to a gross increase in government mistrust, poverty, gang violence, and is an overall detriment to Jamaica's reputation as a peaceful paradise. The government has consistently used forceful tactics in an effort to gain votes and wins elections because of these illegal acts. Corruption in the Jamaican government is a direct threat to democracy, and the effects are results of democratic erosion. Government corruption is widely understood in the minds of Jamaican voters. According to an article published in The Gleaner, a popular Jamaican newspaper, surveys constantly show that upwards of 70% of Jamaicans believe they live in a corrupt country. Gleaner, 2020. Corruption cripples democratic thinking and instills a level of fear in citizens who wish to exercise democratic participation. This was exemplified perfectly in Jamaica's most recent election, as it had one of the lowest voter turnouts in Jamaican history at 37%. BBC 2020. Jamaican citizens being privy to the corruption within government feel helpless in the effort to combat it. This results
All right. There. There's a lot to unpack there. Okay, so let's do that. Let's unpack some things. Hmm. Oh, you know what? I didn't even think about that. Y'all can hear me, right? Yeah, the video stopped. Okay, so I'm getting to the information. I'm going to unpack a few things that was said, and I want it to be understood and never forgotten. So when they ever run their mouth, like old boy from yesterday, like he's over here in America complaining about what we're not doing. It's like, dude, if we were in the Ivory Coast, yo, I mean, you don't even have a body of regulations over there. Like, who regulates your products, your food? Like, yo, they come over here and be asking the weirdest questions, like as though their country can compare. All right. Give me, so give me a second as I try to unpack. Well, I am going to unpack. I ain't going to try. All right, I'm just switching my account real fast. Yeah, that's weird. Hey, boot camp, what's goody, man? Oh shit. Now I got switched back. All right. Okay, so now I'm back. All right. So okay, I'm ready. Let's unpack what we read. Let's play some clips of them talking SHIT and let's look at the data. You dig? Let's see if the data matches up with the lip talking, with the smacky. Okay, so let's go backwards. So we're going to focus on Nigeria and Jamaica today, right? So let's go back. 'Cause a couple of these sisters or cousins, I don't want to call them sisters. I'm going to call them cousins because sisters don't talk like that. All right. So let's back up. Let's back up to about right here. Okay. Remember this?
So let's explore that.
Yeah.
That's
So-
really
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, I had
So-
no idea.
So I have this tweet by McBeanie_, and they said African Americans are by far the worst representation of Black people. They are obnoxious, self-righteous.
So we are the worst representation of Black people. And she's naming like a bunch of adjectives. Like these are not even actions. Like these are just projection or your personal opinion.
Assholes that make people's lives a living hell anywhere they go. And then she got like 390 likes.
So we make people lives hell where we go. Like you act like we walk around killing folks.
Is she also Black?
No, I don't know what she was. But This is
Okay.
what she said.
Like work. So I have to be like loud when it comes to like Africa, like all that say like, but like my mom would agree with that comment. She would agree with that post. She would say like, you know, lazy, like loud, rude,
So we're lazy.
all the negative
we're
connotations
loud.
like you can
Okay, keep in mind, we're lazy, we're loud, we're rude. All right. So this is Jamaican lady talking.
think about when it comes to like like born and raised like African Americans. That's what my mom was gonna call them, right?
Yeah,
So why
Uh,
would she say that?
Because I don't like Jamaica, like Caribbean people. I don't even know if it's like a Caribbean thing
Oh,
or
yeah.
just like a Jamaican thing. But we come here when my mom comes here and she's working, right? Like she's
Okay,
like,
now here's this lie. I mean, yeah. What? Where do you guys live at that Black people are not working? Like, why do they do that? They come over here and they act like they're like a CEO or something. Like, yo, your mom is on the assembly line too. But what's this lie that their mom come over here working and Black folks are just looking at them?
like busting her butt. Her mom is here busting her butt, and like there's this, and I'm from New York, so like
Oh, y'all all from New York, Ellis Island.
I don't know about anything going on like in the South, but like we're from New York. We come here and like a lot of people are like, you know, living on like government assistance and
Okay, all right. Okay. Here we go with this. Here we go with this. Here we go with this. I mean, I don't even know where to start. Okay. So we're going to start right there. If living on government assistance is bad, so then why don't y'all got the same smoke for all of the Europeans that came over that immigrated over here? Why don't y'all have the same smoke for all the immigrants that came over here? They took advantage of government assistance first. And don't forget, they got land grants. European settlers, they got so much stuff. And by the way, was your mom even legal? So like they're comparing legal citizens to illegal citizens. Yes, if you're illegal, yes, you will be in a sweat. Your mom will be working very hard in a sweatshop. You're exactly right. Because a lot of Jamaicans come over here illegally. Their paperwork ain't right or they never had paperwork. So we're not going to be lying like that. A lot of them come over here illegally. So how are you comparing your relatives in a country illegally? You're residing illegally in a country and you're comparing your work ethics to ours. And you're saying that we're on government assistance. I mean, why do you care? Like our taxes pay for it. Like, yo, this is was mind-boggling. They'll look at us and let's say if this is halfway true. They see a handful of blacks on government assistance, right? I mean, but by the way, America has a housing issue. So you probably see now. I mean, you kidding? You guys been to the office, like the welfare office? It's nothing but black immigrants and Hispanic immigrants. You rarely see FBAs in there. So this narrative, it's like the booty scratcher narrative. You lie and say it so often it becomes true, then y'all all start saying it. So black folks are just on government assistance, right? When you guys know if you're in an urban city, you take your ass to a welfare office, you're gonna see a bunch of Latinos and a bunch of Haitians, okay? Especially in New York. I know Newark office was filled with Latinos and Haitians. So again, like this cherry picked lie, like this projection, this it's just FBAs on government assistance. You guys, okay, when your mom came over here illegally, did she have money for a house? Like, look how easy it is to walk this back. When your mom came here illegally, right? Did she just buy a house? Did she come over here with 10 grand on her, 50 grand, and just get an apartment with no documentation? So where were you staying when you came over here? So you just came over here, shared a bed with some relatives, and you just got working? Like, I want you guys to try to envision this. When your mom came over here, was there a job just awaiting her? So what did she do in the meantime to stay afloat? I'm going to tell you. Her bum ass was getting government assistance. That's what she was doing. Especially if she was seen as an asylum seeker, which a lot of you Jamaicans come over as, because your country is a bunch of murderers. We just read the stats. Jamaica led the world. They talk about Chicago. Hey, Donnie, they talk about Chicago. Jamaica leads the world in murders. Yo, they were the safest country in the world when they was under the thumb of white supremacy. Look how ass backward this is. White supremacy leaves and they become the reverse. That's why I say, yo, am I wrong if I look at that and say, hey man, like y'all a bunch of savages amongst each other? When white Zaddy was there, you guys were in line. When he was whipping out with that damn whip, you guys were the most non-violent people in the world. More non-violent than Gandhi and Dr. King. But once white supremacy uprooted, left, and went back to the UK, you guys became the most dangerous country in the world. Your politics are so shitty that nobody votes. They say 30% of Jamaica votes. That's how corrupt your government is. But they come over here and point at one city, Chicago. Chicago is Beverly Hills compared to Jamaica. But let's go with the lie. Her mom just miraculously her mom just miraculously just came over here and got a job and started busting her ass. No assistance. She just stayed with somebody rent free. Yeah, this is America. Right? Where do you stay for free? So so the sisters ain't right asking the right questions. Because I don't know if they're FBA. I thought they were, I don't know. But you should be a little offended. Well, oh, wait. Your mom bust your ass. But when she came over here, like, was she legal or illegal? Oh, we want to know that because if she's legal, so a job was just awaiting her, or did she have to like get settled and apply for jobs? Okay, so how was she feeding herself in between those times? Yes, she was going to the Red Cross. She was going to a bunch of churches, which a lot of the black immigrants do, and they get assistance. Okay, it's not government assistance, it's the church. It's still assistance. Assistance is assistance. Anyway, like, let's go.
all those type of things. So like there's that negative like connotation of like Black Americans don't want to work. They don't want to get to
Okay, so now it's all of us. All right. Okay, so now let's keep the same energy. That's why I say, man, listen, man, gloves are off. Uh, hook, line, sinker, checkmate. You dig? Three move checkmate. Four move checkmate. The wayward queen attack, whatever. Like, I gotta go in. I gotta go in. So government assistance and then collectively. So they get mad at a word tether. That's a verb. The way we define tether, it's a verb. It describes an action of a black immigrant. Okay. So do we put this action on all? We don't do that. We don't put a blanket on all black immigrants, but we're gonna start slowly but surely curving that word tether to mean all y'all. Because I gotta go low with you. I gotta fight fire with fire. I can't keep taking the high route. I just can't. I gotta go low with you. What's that game, that dance where you go under the thing, limbo? Yo, let's do a limbo competition. Let's see who can get lower. East Side boys. I'm tired of taking a higher route. I want to go low with Lil John and East Side boys. To the window, to the wall. I want to do that with you guys. Okay. So she meets a couple, well, she suspects and projects some black folks in her city was on government assistance. So somehow that equates to the entire black populace in America. All right. Again, you see, they continuously put a blanket over all of us. So that's why I don't mind when some FBA just use the tether thing for everybody. It's like, all right, it's wrong. That's not how it's defined, but I accept because it's getting like that where we got to do fire with fire, man. You go low, the hell? You go low, we're going lower. All right. Okay. So where is my email? Okay. Let's finish.
it. They don't want to like get ahead in life and like increase their generational wealth and stuff.
So we don't want to get ahead of life. We don't want to increase our generational wealth. So now this Jamaican tether, she just admit that she was never in the South. She came to New York. Okay. Now, this is why I kept telling these tethers that come on my podcast. It's like, yo, you don't know black history. So you keep making this mistake. Okay, so earlier I played a video, convict leasing, coupled with I think it was medical apartheid. So I was showing the lengths that white supremacy would go to subject FBAs. The I mean, I don't even know what words to put it in, but the inhumane, right? The inhumaneness, how low white folks would go just to stop us from getting ahead, from creating that general wealth that you just talked about. Where there was a law in Jim Crow South where you tethers know nothing about, where they had laws where if a black man worked at a farm, he could not quit and work for another farm. The farm boss had to give the approval to work for a different white man farm. If you didn't, so you get like paperwork where now you can go somewhere else. So you were pretty much contracted. You dig, a 360 contract. That's what I'm saying. Like these record label contracts, they stem from convict leasing. So you were in a contract forever, a lifetime contract with this farm you decide to work for freely, but now you can't leave. You can't quit and you can't work for another farm unless the owner writes you a letter. Okay. So you got things like that going on. You got vagrancy laws that only apply, that was only enforced with FBAs. So white folks not working, because remember, this is right after the war. How many people working? So this is right after Black Reconstruction, where they literally just uprooted us from our jobs and positions, and then say, hey, if you're not working by tomorrow, I'm gonna put you in handcuffs and charge you for vagrancy. And as a result, your court fine would be $5. Now in the 1900s, the early 1890s, $5 was like, I believe, I'm guessing, but I'm thinking that's equivalent to like 500 or at least $250 or something like that for us today. So just imagine, like people working can't pay a fine like that. So imagine an unemployed guy get hit with a fine like that. Like that's guaranteed jail. Like he paying $500, $250. You dig? So most likely he's gonna get a bench warrant and then he'll be arrested and be put in jail. So these vagrants, right? Where they went, these vagrants, these black vagrants, these FBA vagrants, they would say, hey, you're not working. And they'll lock you up, bring you into the court. And not only $5 for the court, but you had to pay $5 to the sheriff and to the witness who witnessed you not working, I guess. Okay, and if you couldn't pay those fines, you got thrown in jail, and then a company, a steel company or a coal mine company will pay that debt on your behalf, and they will pretty much rent you for a period of time. And you were basically the machine. So you know how you got case packers today, you got a machine, you got bottle cappers, well, you were the bottle capper. You did. So they wanted you to work as consistent and effectively as a bottle capper machine, as a case packer. They wanted you to work as efficiently and as effective as a bottle capper machine. Okay. And they see this ain't slavery, right? So they could work you to death. Slavery, like that was his livestock. You know, they got chickens, cows. They don't want that to die. But slavery, because you're free, right? So you're nobody's AKA or quote unquote property. So you're responsible for taking care of yourself, basically. So they will work you to death. So I'm just going back. So for her, so anyway, I'm pointing out that this country systematically blocked us out of the wealth gap. Like, don't worry, I got videos on that. I might give you one today. So now she started off by saying this, right? So this is why I say you really can't build an alliance with none of them, because she started off by saying, "Hey, those words were hateful. I don't have that hate in my heart, but my mom does." But now you look at her whole face. She got serious as hell. Now she's spewing that hate from her heart. Oh, they don't want to work. They don't want the wealth gap. Like, how do y'all make yo all day long? All day long, they sit and think about us. Why these niggas don't increase their wealth gap? Why these niggas, why don't you just level up and surpass us? If it's that easy, why you worry about what we're doing? Do you walk through Pennsylvania? What's that street over there with the crackheads? Do you walk over there and be like, damn, these folks need to get a job? If we're that destructive, right, then leave us alone and you go do you. They sit, again, I showed you from the time of this country, white Europeans came over here like the Tethers, unemployed. But unlike the Tethers, white people gave Americans, they call them nativists, American nativists. That's like white people. American that founded the country, or founded America. The founding fathers, like that stock. The American nativists or nativists. So when I say nativists, I'm speaking about the founders, the people who settled here from Britain and fought for independence, fought the British. Okay, they are called the nativists, and they call the early Europeans that immigrate over here old immigrants, and that's one section or one group, and they call the second group the new immigrants. Okay, well, both, when they came over here, ran into government subsidies and government assistance, including welfare. Okay, and they were giving land grants with low interest rates. That's government assistance and more. They trained them, they educated them to farm, to basically level up. And then they carved out Ellis Island and then placed them over there to thrive by themselves, away from the Jim Crow South. And these Tethers, he just said, New York City, away from Jim Crow South. Little to no Jim Crow. And they come over here and they thumb their nose up, these shitholes. Okay, so now let's look back at that country again. So one more time. Give me a second. Wait, let's play this out first.
Like that. And like also my mom, she will discuss like things like when Marcus Garvey like came to America to like, speak to Black Americans and say like, listen, you guys cannot let white people oppress you because
okay, did you hear this? Hey, chat. I'm gonna buy sports. And I've been researching a lot, right? On Jamaica and Nigeria. A lot. She said, now listen to this. Marcus Garvey left Jamaica and he came over here to tell us what?
in Jamaica, Black Americans and say like, listen, you guys cannot let white people oppress you because in Jamaica, we revolted against.
In Jamaica, you revolted. Jamaica didn't get their independence until 1962. So you were being colonized and ruled under the British colonies up until that point. Your zaddy was the British colonizers all the way until 1962. So how are you riding a boat down here telling us we've been free since 1865, at least on paper? But he's in New York. So he's talking to a different free Black man, a different freedman from the South. The South was dealing with crazy Jim Crow, which was like another slavery. Peonage. It was like another slavery. You're in the North talking to a Black man about how he got to be freed. Are you serious? Marcus Garvey left a country that was a shithole and it was under the thumb of British rule. So he's under British rule. He fled and he's going to help us Do what, sis? Say that again.
Like came to
Cousin.
America to like, you know, speak to Black Americans and say like, listen, you guys cannot let white people oppress you, because in Jamaica we revolted against our slave masters. Like we ran into the mountains, we created like nanny towns and stuff like that. So it's like
Okay, remember that hate that she didn't have in her heart? It's all coming out.
we kind of like we weren't taking it like slavery. We were not taking all that oppression. So
That's a lie. Jamaica, was slavery was abolished in Jamaica, I think in 1830. And from that point on, it was the British colonies running Jamaica. What are you talking about? Got to get independence until 1962, and then y'all fled. I mean, yo, they got independence in 1962, and then they left the country. 89% of their most skilled and most educated people are not in the country. Yeah, I agree with Jaffe. I think I'm saying your name right. I'm gonna say Jap. I'm gonna say Jap. So Jap, I keep hearing that, and I'm gonna do some research behind that. I keep hearing because even some Jamaicans said Garvey was an agent. So I keep hearing that, and when you and I'm gonna put some effort behind that. I keep hearing that because again, I told the Jamaican dude that's on my channel, I was like, yo, how did Garvey get in this country? They had strict immigration rules. I mean, these immigration rules was against the Chinese, it was against the Europeans. How was this big black guy able to get here and just roam around like he's Prince Charming? He was like, a good question. I was like, yo, I think he came in here either illegally or what Jap is saying. He came in here like an informant. Yeah, like he come now. This guy, it leaves a country that's colonized. They didn't get their independence until 1962. And she's acting like Garvey came over here like Batman and shit. What this is I don't know what's going on, man. But this is why I had to do what I had to do. I came on my channels, my airspaces, and I showed that Garvey was a fraud. No different than the other frauds in Jamaica and Nigeria. No different. No different. He came over here. He didn't like what did Garvey build? Like he came over here and he tried to flee again to Africa. And then our big brother, A. Philip Randolph, was like, nah, nah, nah. No tethers allowed. He was an immigrant. And listen to these words. A. Philip Randolph was an immigration restrictionist. That means he ain't want nobody outside of black folks in this country. So there's no way he approved the Garvey. He wanted Garvey. So he was the ones who's calling for Garvey must go. That Garvey must go campaign. A. Philip Randolph was one of the main guys with it. Okay. So now Garvey's coming here to tell us. Now Garvey in 19, so the Booker T. Washingtons, the W. Du Bois, the A. Philip Randolphs, all these other, and you got all these other guys at this time who was trying to get us to get right and fight for equal rights, fighting to like end, Jim Crow. They ain't know any better. A tether from Jamaica somehow gets in this country with no paperwork, like something's not adding up. Because I try to Google how did Garvey get in the country? Yo, immigration was tight for black people. I'm like, how do you get in this country? Then he's in New York. I don't know about that, man. But hey, look, I'm gonna try to look to see what I got now. I hope Donald Trump declassifies some of this stuff.
there was I think there's a lot there. There's a
Yeah.
lot there.
I think
There's a lot there. There's a lot of lies there. All right, so now. Right. He never said. Let me give my boy a wrench because he's dropping some science over here. Booker T died in 1950, and Garvey showed up there 3 months later in March 19. Yeah. He never met Garvey. He was. I'm sorry. He never met Booker T. He claimed he idolized him, and he wanted to be him. Yeah, but Booker T ain't never talk about fleeing. K Living. Yeah, bro. They romanticize. Yo, now Garvey's gonna come over and save us, and by saving us, he's gonna round us up and bring us to Liberia. When the Liberia government said no, you guys can't come here and stop trying. And then when he said that, Garvey blamed W. Du Bois for the Liberian president saying that. Oh man, you blocked me. Nah, bro, you didn't make reservations in advance. You know how they say call and make reservations in advance. You never called the Liberian government to make reservations in advance. Never did that. You can't just pop up, and show out. You ain't Kendrick Lamar. Yeah. She's smiling like she really thinks she was like cooking. So he said, "What?" I said, "So Thug Coding said, what advice do you have for uniting Black people in the USA with the Black people in the Caribbean? Also, unity for the gangs of California, bro. Listen, man, we're more focused on unifying FBAs first, right? So uniting Caribbean, well, you said I don't. That's probably not even possible. Like, look at the mentality. Like, I don't even think that's possible at this point. The way these tethers talking, but the dude Chris yesterday would act like this stuff didn't exist. Hold on. I don't think that's possible with tethers like her. And she's just smiling. I mean, like she said some hateful shit and she just smiling. Remember, she said earlier, there's no the sister in the white read some hateful stuff, right? About FBAs. The Jamaican tether on the left said, yeah, that's some hateful stuff, but my mom will agree. I don't have that hate in my heart. But then she went out there and right after she said that, she went and spewed hateful things and she's smiling after she's done. Oh yeah, well that's it. It is what it is. And she is smiling. Thug, yeah, at this point, I don't believe that's even necessary, bro. We need to focus on signal boosting, the unification, get on code with FBAs, and we ain't gonna get a lot of them. Well, we ain't gonna get all of them, but let's get as much as we can, right? And then be this powerhouse that can just cancel people on the fly. You dig? Where people got to cater to us if they want, some of our dollars or this and that. Yeah, man, we got to put some respect on our names. So this tether right here has some strong words for us. The hyena of Lion King. Yo, I just can't. Muck Muck said Garvey tried to bring that Caribbean colorism to America to say, yeah, exactly. That ain't work. All right, so let me hear over here because I'm gonna go to the other channel in a second. So follow me over there because the other channel, I ain't gonna lie, the other channel be more lit. Yo, yesterday, yo, we had 50 something people all the way to like, I don't know how long I stayed, like 2 a.m. Yeah, we had 50 people to like 2 a.m. 2, 3 a.m. yesterday. I was wondering why I was so tired earlier. Okay, so anyway, I'm gonna cook here for a little bit, but about like 8, maybe an hour or so, I'm gonna shut this down, and then I'm gonna go to the other channel, and I'm gonna play the same stuff. So I'm gonna recap this for that audience because like they're different. They're different audience, but they more lit. You dig? Then over here, I ain't gonna lie, they more lit and they show out in numbers. I think the most numbers I had over there was 215. Like so they show out. They came out at in 215 numbers, 80 one time, 100 one time. Yeah, so they be showing out. So yesterday they was showing out from 50 something people for all the way to like 3 in the morning. That 50 never dropped. I think I like 1.9. Look at the video. I got 1.9 views on it, 1.9K views. Over here, those numbers come once in a while over there, that channel be thumping. So I'm trying to give y'all the exclusive first. I'm trying to regenerate y'all, get y'all energized, get y'all interactive. But at the very least, just join me over there and you know, give it that energy, those vibes over there. Cause they be live. I even had a call in yesterday. A young tether tried to challenge me. Okay. So now let's read about Jamaica real quick. Matter of fact, I don't got to read about it. I'll play it again. Hold on. Hold on. Why would I read it? Let me just play it again. And this chick just smiling her little tether self off. All right, all right, all right. Let me see. Okay. So let me play this right here for you. So this is why I say, man, we got to really examine what's going on with these guys. These some slick talking tethers, yo. All right, so now what mark is this? We're at the let me try to find it.
Nigerian literature is written in or free people of color, mixed race, and 311,007
Okay, there we go.
of whom 15,000 were white. Jamaica's dependence on slave labor and the United Kingdom on August. Nigerian literature is written in English, partly because this language is understood by most Nigerians. Now it's time to take a deep look into Jamaica and what they got going on.
So let's take a deep look into Jamaica and what they got going on, right?
Right now, let's take a good look at Nigeria and Jamaica and try to uncover why there's so much vitriol for foundational Black Americans, or also known as FBA, coming from the continent and the diaspora. Please show support 3 different ways, starting with subscribing to Unbiased Sports Podcast and his other channel, FBA Defensive Unit. Like the video. If it's in your means, then reach out with a donation that shows appreciation for all of the long hours of thorough research
Amen.
in an effort to educate you and entertain you. Look up. The Cash App is $Unbiased Sports. It's time to get started, you dig?
I did.
Jamaicans achieved independence from the United Kingdom on August 6, 1962.
August 6, 1962. So when y'all see that I connected the dots, the Windrush, remember that ship, the Windrush, where the Jamaicans were kicked out of the UK, the borders were closed? Well, guess what? Oh, so they came on a ship, and then they came on a ship in 1948, and then 14 years later, the British Empire, they passed the Commonwealth Immigration Act that said basically no more Caribbeans could come into the country. But that was 1962. So that was the same year. That's ironic because that's the same year that Jamaica got the independence. So it's like, wait a minute. If y'all got your independence in 1962, shouldn't y'all be happy? Y'all there by yourselves. Y'all could govern yourself. Why are y'all fleeing a country you just got independence for? Yo, I'm giving y'all something. Yo, they just got independence in 1962. Oh, say, can you see fireworks blasting everywhere? And the bomb bursting in air gave through to the night. Okay, too loud. They do all that celebration for their independence. Just to flee the same year or 3 years later. Because 65, we know that America passed their Immigration Act. And we know they was coming over here in droves. Okay? We know the 1980s, right? This is 20 years after the independence. They over here and at a million deep. Matter of fact, okay, folks in Jamaica. So Jamaica was here, I think around like a million deep or close. But you just got independence. Now, so now guys, look, I brought you guys brain drain, brain gain, but what about brain waste? Yes. What about brain waste?
Jamaica's economy is heavily dependent on tourism. It has
Yo, their economy is reliant on tourism. So like they got no import export, nothing. So tourism is your main income. So something got to happen is like, you know how Dominican Republic had that liquor people's dying from? That's all you guys need is something like that to happen, where COVID 2020, 2025 is only in Jamaica. Y'all would be done. What's keeping them somewhat afloat is tourist money.
Has an average of 4.3 million tourists a year. By the beginning of the 19th century, Jamaica's dependence on slave labor and a plantation economy had resulted in black people outnumbering white people by a ratio
tourists,
of
right.
almost 20 to 1.
The government.
Although the
stuff.
British had outlawed the importation of slaves, some were still smuggled in from Spanish colonies.
Hey, yo. Q Living said independence in 1962 and fleeing by 1964. You can't, I gotta give the other countries, the other black diaspora in the continent more credit. Okay. I give more credit. Because for the most part, like they stayed in their countries, you dig? So I'm gonna put a little more respect on other African countries as far as that and the other Caribbeans, right? But these guys listen, man. Independence in 62 and they're fleeing in 64. But Q Living, that's not the worst. The Watcher, that's Donnie. That's not the worst. It gets worse than that. So, independence in 62 and they fleeing in 64. Bro, watch the coonery. That's unbelievable. Like, you're going to look at Jamaica totally different, even more than your prior beliefs, prior thoughts. Listen.
And directly from Africa. The population in 1834 was 371,070, of whom 15,000 were white.
15,000 whites in Jamaica in 1834 out of a population of 350,000. 15,000 were white. And this broad sat here and lied. This female coon tether sat here and lied and said, we rebel. Yo, you're 350,000 deep. They are bold as hell in your country. 15K deep amongst 35,000 Jamaicans. And you're bragging about rebelling. You are literally like 80%, 85%, if not higher, 90% of the population. You're supposed to win all of your riots and rebellions. How can you possibly lose? Let's keep going.
5,000 free black, 40,000 colored or free people of color, mixed race, and 311,070 were slaves. There was
300,000 slaves versus 15,000 white folks.
Resulting labor shortage prompted the British to begin to import indentured servants to supplement the labor pool.
And they still had a labor shortage. So now they're going after the Chinese and the East Indians.
As many freedmen resisted working on the plantations. Workers recruited from India began arriving in 1845, Chinese workers in 1854. Many Jamaicans are descendants of South Asian and Chinese people. In 1871, the census recorded a population of...
So now we're at 1871, right? So now we are 40 years later, okay? It's going to be less white people and more Jamaicans.
Asian and Chinese people. In 1871, the census recorded a population of 506,154 people.
So now we went from 350,000 to 500,000.
246,573 of whom were males, and 259,581 females. Their races were recorded as 13,101 white, 100,346 colored, known as the Browning class, and 392,707 black. Independence, however, widely celebrated in Jamaica, has been questioned in the early 21st century.
Okay, you heard that. It's going to get worse. So their independence was questioned by themselves in the early 21st century. Is that what she said?
widely celebrated in Jamaica, has been questioned in the early 21st century.
They just got their independence in the early 20th century.
In 2011, a survey showed that approximately
Listen, guys, you will never respect them ever again after this stat right here. Listen.
21st century. In 2011, a survey showed that approximately 60% of Jamaicans believe that the country would have been better off had it remained a British colony.
60% of Jamaicans said they would have been better off under the British colony. So what is she talking about? They said, yeah, we were better off under the thumb of white supremacy than by ourselves with independence. The entire world, Eritreans, whoever, brags about Sicilians. Everybody brags about their independence. They proudly parade it around the world. They resent their independence. 6 out of 10 Jamaicans said, yo, nah, that was a bad move. We should have been under the thumb of white supremacy forever. Y'all heard it right. Yo, yeah, they need Zaddy. So now you see why old boy yesterday, he was like, yo, you feel more British or Jamaican? He's like, I feel more British. Black kids after about, I feel more British. Okay. So 6 out of 10 Jamaicans said, yeah, we were better off under Zaddy. Yo, they have a high respect for Zaddy. And they hate us. Now you see why they hate us so much. They're like, yo, we wish we were as brave as you guys, man. You're the minority. And you're fighting and, you want to simulate you're fighting and raising your voice. We're the majority and we rather let 6 white folks rule us.
With only 17% believing it would have been worse off, citing as problems years of social and fiscal mismanagement in the country. When Jamaica gained independence in 1962,
I'm gonna stop right there. Cause I gotta go live on the other channel. I don't want to do a double live. So listen, everybody here, I'm gonna put the other channel in the chat because I'm just gonna bring this over there. Okay, FBA defensive, and I want y'all to call in too. Some of y'all defensive unit, okay? Because I'm gonna because I don't want to get all live over here, raise my voice and get all crazy because then I ain't gonna want to do it again. So listen, unit. Okay, so here is this is where I'm going. Okay, because I want to turn up, but I don't want to turn up twice because I was gonna go live here because you guys y'all my long-term supporters, right? But over there, they show out in numbers. So I want y'all to go to that name, type it in YouTube, subscribe, and I'm gonna take this same live over there. So I ain't got to do it all over again. Because normally what I would do, I would be live here and talking, and I'll just replay it over there, right? So they just get the video, like the premiere type shit. Y'all get the real live, they get the premiere. But I feel like the premiere for this ain't good enough because I got to go back and show that woman again. Okay, so I'm gonna go back and show her again. But you know what? I'm gonna lead off with her, and then I'm gonna show this video second. All right. So yeah. So guys, because y'all mix with them, let's have a party. I'm out of here. I'm getting a little too hyper.